What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with a Mariners post-game recap for today's game. I debated what to do first, Seahawks recap or the Mariners recap, but most of my subs are probably for Mariners, so we're going to go with the Mariners post-game recap first. Seahawks post-game recap will be up later tonight. And thank goodness for the Seattle Seahawks today, because the Mariners were awful, and the Seahawks saved the day from at least being a total disaster and giving us, that are Seahawks fans, some level of enjoyment. The Mariners get swept. They lose to the Dodgers 6-1. The Dodgers pretty much sat most. I mean, you had no Freddie Freeman, no Mookie Betts. Wasn't a problem for the Dodgers today. I wish it was in the days of 40-man rosters, because the Dodgers might have had all backups in there, but alas, can't do that. And it just, what wasn't good enough, and the Dodgers just take care of business. Sweep the Mariners. The Mariners are now a full game out of a playoff spot behind Texas, which in a sense is two, because right now they don't have the tiebreaker with the Rangers. Listen, at this point, you've got 7 games left with the Rangers. If you can go 4-3, 5-2, you might have a shot. That's kind of what you have to do now. Like, it's going to likely come down to those 7 games between the Rangers and the Mariners. Hopefully the Mariners can find a way to win those games and get in. I'm truthfully drained with this team at the moment. This is going to be probably the worst post-game recap of the season for me, and I truly am sorry for that. I'll try and go over as best as possible, but what more can we say at this point? I mean, the Dodgers hungover still came in and beat this team. I know the Dodgers are a great team. I'm not taking away, obviously I'm not. You guys have watched my videos the last 2 days. I praised that team endlessly. But the Mariners just weren't up to the task, and I mean, no ability to hit with runners in scoring position. Today, just everything went wrong. The pitching wasn't good. The hitting wasn't good. I mean, at least the last couple nights, you had some chances to win the game. Tonight, at no point did I feel like this team, or today, I should say, was in this game. Listen, at this point, it's not over. It's not. I know everyone's going to say it is. Like, you got a shot. You got 13 games left. You're a game out, and you literally play the team in front of you 7 times. If this was a football season, there was 13 games left, you had 7 games against opponent, nobody would call it over. So it's not. But at this point, it's just, you got to take care of Texas somehow, right? And hopefully they can go into Oakland and sweep or win a series. Like, I have such little faith right now the way this team is playing. I'm not even convinced they're going to go into Oakland tomorrow. Tomorrow, Brian Wu versus JP Sears. I'm not even super optimistic about that matchup, to be perfectly honest. So all you can do is just look at what's in front of you and hope they find a way. That's all we've got at this point. Maybe you go into the Houston series 2 games back, you sweep it. Maybe you take 5 out of 7 from Texas. I don't know. Guys, you said, no, there's no way they're going to beat Texas. Maybe they don't. Maybe they lose all 7. I have no clue. I have no clue what this team is going to do. But at least you've got those games and you'll have those opportunities. So we'll see what happens in the final 13. Logan Gilbert, 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned, 1 walk, 6 Ks. 1 walk, 6 Ks is solid, but the 5 earned runs isn't good. Can't be giving up home runs to Austin Barnes. That's just absolutely unacceptable. I feel like we've had a lot of those this year for the Mariners. Bizarro, 2 shutout innings, and Dominic Leone does his 2 innings of work, gives up a home run, of course, gets a couple strikeouts and a walk. Again, every outing Dominic Leone has pitched this year has been a microcosm of Dominic Leone. Gives up a home run, gives up that barrel hard hit home run, walks a guy, strikes out a couple. Dominic Leone in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. But in a 6-1 game, that's when he should be pitching. So it's not Dominic Leone's fault they lost today. Offense doesn't do enough. JP had a nice game, 2 for 4, reached base 3 times, an RBI and a walk. Julio 0 for 5, Cal 1 for 3. Teo left some runners on 0 for 4. Kelenic 0 for 2, Moore 0 for 1, Canzone 0 for 1, Gino 0 for 3 with a walk. Mike Ford did reach base 3 times. That's good. Tied a couple hits. Good to see. Josh Rojas 0 for 4. I'm sorry if I'm flying through this post-game recap. This team is just not inspiring me to talk about them right now. They're not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. Mariners might be going somewhere. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be talking about them. What can I say? I mean, I can break this one down a ton. I mean, you need Logan Gilbert to be better than that. There's no discussion to be had here about Logan Gilbert. He's just got to pitch better than that. The offense has got to be better. The Dodgers are really good. They swept you. It's unfortunate Toronto swept Boston over that same time period. So you literally lost 3 games on the Blue Jays in 3 days to take you out of a playoff spot. Luckily, Cleveland swept Texas. Kansas City beat Houston 2 out of 3. Houston Wednesday, you're 2.5 back there. I mean, we are at the point now. You kind of hoped, the hope was you could get to the Texas and Houston series, and you wouldn't have anything wrapped up. We knew they weren't going to wrap it up with 10 games to go, but be in a position where 4-6, 5-5, you'd survive and maybe still get in. Now, I mean, you just need to go 7-3 or 8 and something in those 10 games. I don't know what exactly the number is going to need to be, but you're certainly going to have to pass Texas. And right now they have the tiebreaker. And yes, and by the way, Seattle is 1-5 against Texas. They could get the tiebreaker back. But if you win the tiebreaker against Texas, that means you've beaten them let's see, play them 7 times. You would essentially have to go 6-1 against them. You wouldn't need the tiebreaker at that point. You'd be so far ahead of them. So you're just going to have to finish above Texas. Maybe Toronto falters or something. But I mean, just the team's got to start winning games. I cannot break it down any further than that. They're going to have to go to Oakland, get the job done. There's literally no more margin of error. No more margin. They have beaten, truthfully, that they're out of margin because they're out of it right now. But there is literally zero margin for error anymore. They've used it all up. And I gave this team passes and excuses, and I feel kind of foolish. I talked about it. Well, the Mets series wasn't that bad, the Reds, but they've just never made up for it. They never made up for it in any other series. They just kept dropping them. 5-11 in September. And again, as I said last night, the frustrating thing, 6-10, 7-9 September, they're probably sitting in a playoff spot. They did not have to be perfect this month to be pushing on the door for October. They did not have to be. They had to be about average, and they haven't done that. They've been, I mean, I don't know what every team's record is in September, but they've got to be bottom 5-10 in the league in September. You know, I listen, the Dodgers are a great team. I'm not shocked they came in, but like I said, it's just kind of the same things as yesterday, just not as dramatic of a loss. Like that's great. Dodgers are really good. I fully admit that. I'm not, but like you got to beat one of these teams eventually. Eventually, you've got to take 2 out of 3 from a good baseball team. You have to do it eventually, or salvage a game. The Atlanta series, oh, they hung tough, lost 2 out of 3. The Baltimore series, oh, they hung tough, lost 4-6. Tampa Bay, oh, they hung tough, lost 3 out of 4. Dodgers, oh, they hung tough, got swept. Eventually, you've got to come around and win a baseball game against some of these teams. You know, you can't go through the whole season being terrible against these teams. You don't have to beat up on the good teams, but the old adage is beat up on the bad teams, break even with the good teams. The Mariners are not breaking even with the good teams. They're losing, and pretty consistently. And a shame in a series where you had Kirby and Logan Gilbert both going in this series that you couldn't find a way to get one game. I mean, again, like if they would have won one game this series, I'm not saying we'd be feeling great, but like you'd be even with Texas. You'd be a half game back of Toronto. Like there'd be some reason for optimism. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have some reason. Baseball is weird. I'll say it, and you guys are probably sick of hearing it, but baseball is weird. Mariners could go 10-3 down the stretch and get in. Like baseball is a funky sport. There are weird things that happen. Just when you think teams are dead, they pull it out, and just when you think teams are way ahead, they drop out. It is a weird game. But like I said, the Mariners have used up every not every loss, but like every I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Margin of error. Every margin of error they had, they have used up. Guys, I just don't have a lot else on this game. Poor offensive performance. Pitching wasn't good enough. Bad loss. Not bad in the sense that the Dodgers are a really good team, but just bad September. It's a bad September. That's the way to put it. And this just, you know, if you're already got a bloody nose and someone hits you again, does it hurt? Not quite as much as the first punch, but they're just getting kicked when they're down. And the Dodgers put a foot on them while they're down. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Guys, if you can, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for me. I'm 7 subs away from 2,300. Think about becoming a channel member. There'll be a members-only live stream tomorrow for the Mariners and the A's game. Sorry for the short recap on a Sunday. I can't add anything else. It's until they turn it around. Just, yep. Seahawks recap will be up later tonight. Thank goodness for the Seattle Seahawks winning their game today. One Seattle team decided to show up and make a statement. And that's, you know what, kind of a perfect microcosm. You know, the Mariners just haven't won that game. I'm not saying they haven't had some great wins this year. The Mariners have absolutely had some quality wins this season. But the Seahawks kind of, I don't want to say backs against the wall week 2, but go into Detroit, a hostile environment, and get a W. Huge. The Mariners play these teams and just can't figure out a way to win them. You know what I mean? They can't figure out how to beat the Dodgers, the Braves, the Orioles, and stuff like that. If you know what I mean, just kind of a microcosm of it. I don't want to talk too much Seahawks on here, and Seahawks are 1-1. They haven't accomplished anything yet either. But yeah, probably going to come down to 7 games against Texas. At this point, I just can't imagine not. Hopefully the Mariners can win tomorrow. I think pretty much everybody's off, so you could gain a half game on all these teams with the win. Take it, and hopefully it just leads to something. And then you've got Castillo and Kirby last 2 games in Oakland, and maybe you can find a way to sweep the A's and, maybe pull back ahead in this thing. We'll see what happens. But this is about as low as I've been on the team since there's just constant back and forth 500 in June, July, and August. So have a great night, everybody. I'll be back later tonight with the Seahawks recap. Take care, everybody. Go Mariners. Like, comment, subscribe, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. Peace.